I am Dracula. I bid you welcome.
Oh, it's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Thou shalt rise again.
Power to make multitudes run, squealing in terror at the touch of my little invisible finger.
Do you believe in werewolves? To a new world of gods and monsters.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Eternal Midnight, where Ken and I are trekking our way through the Universal Horror box set. After the last episode we did of espionage, we're back to the monsters with The Mummy's Tomb. Ken, I know you said you've got a decent amount to say about this one. What have you got for us?
Chad, what did I say when we last talked about The Mummy's Hand? I said, I'm pretty sure Kharis is in the next one more, and it's sort of like a proto-slasher movie where the monsters go around strangling people. And Chad, what do we have here?
We have a damn good follow-up, which is basically a slasher film. And you know what this really... I think my favorite thing about this is the returning characters. Now, I think they're both killed off in kind of embarrassing ways.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, when Babe and... what's the main guy's name? I forget him.
Steve,
when Steve and Babe are killed off, it's a little lame and embarrassing, but I am still struck with like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. Like,
yeah, I mean,
you know, I felt bad about it.
At least they were there, but it was kind of like, wow, okay. You kill off Steve, the hero of the first movie, when he's an old man. You just kill him off in the first 20 minutes, which, I mean, I will give it, though, in a way, I did like it, because it's like, hey, nobody's safe.
Yep.
Is going to survive and who's going to, meet their end. And I was kind of expecting Babe to make it till the end, and then he gets killed. And I'm like, okay, wow.
I'll tell you this much. Steve and Babe's death didn't piss me off the way Rachel's death in Halloween 5 did.
Oh. Rachel's death in Halloween 5 was so unnecessary. It was about as unnecessary as Laurie's death at the beginning of Resurrection.
Yeah, I would agree. But anyways, no.
What I liked was it was like, you know what? At least Steve and Babe got to live long, happy lives. They did die as old men, at least.
Yes, which also, for 1942, dang, like so many movies. Yeah, a lot of these came out in 1942. For 1942, pretty decent old man makeup.
Mm-hmm. Because this was only 2 years after The Mummy's Hand.
Yeah. And I'll also say this. I know we were sort of not complaining, but we were a little disappointed in The Mummy's Hand that Kharis only shows up in the last 15, 20 minutes of the movie. Not in this one. He is there from the get-go, baby.
He's there from the get-go, and he's in it a ton.
Yes. Oh, also, another weird thing. This movie is only an hour long, and the first 10 minutes are just a recap of the first movie.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like sitting there watching it, and I'm like, it's like they finally finish. I'm like, all right, you've got 50 minutes left.
So they only made 50 minutes of a new movie. Could you imagine someone doing that today?
It's weird if you think about it. In today's world, I almost think people would feel ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be like, I paid for an hour-long film. It's like, but it told a decent story. Too short. Can't believe I had to pay for it. It's like, yeah. But it worked. I mean, it's another one of those, it's another 40s film. Again, if this was told today, there's a lot more they could add to it. I'm sure there's a lot more in-depth we'd see with all these characters. But I mean, for being an hour, I had no problem with it being an hour.
Oh, I agree. I also... I think the movie just moves along well. Like, for being really 50 minutes, we got 10 minutes. It's an hour-long movie, but the first 10 minutes, are a recap of The Mummy's Hand. And I think that also has to do with the fact that, it was 42. If you missed a movie, you missed it. And even if not, it was 2 years ago. You probably haven't seen it since.
Right.
So people probably needed a reminder. But even with that 10 minutes, and then you only got 50 minutes of new movie, I think it trucks along pretty well.
Yeah, it never really it didn't hit any like boring points. I mean, people were killed off pretty regularly, it felt like. Like we said, a couple
Now,
of big characters that we thought were gonna live were killed off.
I know I was surprised they killed what's her name, Jane or Janet, his Steve's sister,
Yep,
this
Jane.
sweet little old lady.
Just I just love the way they do it. It's like she's just standing there and he just like comes up and like puts his hand on her throat nice and like softly. And then she just like gasps and then she's dead.
It
I'm like,
cuts. It cuts and you hear her scream.
I was like, well, guess they didn't want to show them strangling a woman, maybe?
Maybe not. Also, one thing, a minor criticism of this is it seems very formulaic. It's like, okay, night falls, mummy comes, kills someone. The next day, it's in the news, there's an investigation. Night call comes, mummy kills someone, news, investigation. Night comes, mummy goes out.
Well, they showed
But-
that scene of that couple in their separate beds multiple times. I hear a sound outside.
Yep.
Oh, go see what it is.
The old Ricky and Lucy beds.
Right. I also love that. I think they said it a couple times. They were like, "There's a shadow outside." And they're like, "All right, we'll see what this shadow does."
Yes. Oh my God. And that's another thing I really actually liked about this movie was just sort of the image of that woman lying in bed, and you just see the shadow sort of hover over her as it's stumbling outside. That's creepy, and I really dig it.
No, it's no Nosferatu shadow.
No,
but
of course
it
not.
was still effective.
Yes.
And Nosferatu came out what, 30 years before this?
1920. So
20 years
22
before
years.
this? Wow.
22 years.
And that still did the visuals better.
No, 1922. So 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then again, this was, I mean, at this point, I mean, these are like low. This was like the era of like, just like the low budget, like just get it out. But it's true. I mean, look at it through the ages. Horror makes money. That's why they pump out sequels, because you can get formulaic and you can do the same thing over and over.
And that's why so many big names get their start in the horror genre.
Because they're cheap to make. Because it's like, think about it. It's like, if you were given $1 million, would you rather make just some drama where, people talk, or something like a Friday the 13th where people are going to see people die? It's like, people are going to, there's going to be the crowd who wants to go see the drama, but there's the crowd who wants to see the monsters and see people die. People enjoy being scared. And like we've said in the beginning, these aren't scary.
Yeah.
Maybe for the time they were.
A few creepy little moments that don't get under my skin and make me, look behind me when I hear a sound. But a good spooky image of like the shadow hanging over a woman's body as it's stumbling outside. I like that. And, it might be a cheap gimmick of having the mummy just stumbling around, but this is what rewatching this movie after so long, this is what I really wanted out of a Kharis type of mummy movie. The Mummy's Hand, I was just disappointed he doesn't show up until the last 15 minutes. This is what I really wanted. I want him stumbling throughout the movie, killing people off one by one,
And he was fully under control by his new keeper, Mahimet
Played
Bey.
by Torin Bay, yeah.
Yep. He gave him his real last name. That's funny.
Yes, the actor's name is Torin Bay and the character's last name is Bay.
I actually really liked him.
Yeah, he and pretty much
I liked his motivation where he's just like, I want the girl.
Mhm.
He's like, Kharis, do it. I'm your master. Do as I say. And then he just gets like killed by the crowd.
Yeah. Oh, also I've got to ask another. This is the earliest example I know of like the young couple making out in the car.
Yeah, good point.
Getting surprised by a monster. This is the earliest example I could think of.
Still not my favorite one though. I think my favorite scene of that was still in the Blob remake.
I knew you were going to say that. I was about to ask if I could guess, but I knew you were going to say that one.
Because that was horrifying.
Yes.
What happened to those two was absolutely, I'll never forget. I watched the first time I saw that, I was like a kid, and it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. No. I'm not sure if we mentioned this after we started recording, but I know you were telling me before, it makes no sense. Why is this movie called The Mummy's Tomb?
They weren't even in his tomb.
They traveled across the sea to America.
This, okay, the mummy's hand. I think you said it. Why was that one called the mummy's hand?
Yeah, and why is the next one called The Mummy's Ghost? Because I remember it's not his ghost, it's just the mummy still.
I haven't seen the mummy's ghost yet, so I mean, I'll see that in one of our next rounds. But it's like this one. Okay, this one. Okay, the first one should have been the mummy's tomb. This one could have been the return of the mummy. The mummy returns almost or something. Because there's no, I mean, don't call this one the mummy's hand because I mean, unless they gave him like a fake hand or something, but it's like this had no business being called the mummy's tomb. His tomb,
yeah,
he was in his tomb for 2 seconds.
And I think,
and they didn't even explain how he survived. He was lit on fire in the last film.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, he's fine. That's literally how they handled it, the same way they handled Michael Myers in Halloween 4. He's all right.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's still here. He burned up, but he's all right.
Let me ask, was it this one or is it going to be the next one where they establish that he's in New Orleans?
I have not seen the next one yet.
But did they mention him being in New Orleans or this one? Or
is that where they were in this one?
I think so.
No, this takes place in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. So I think it'll be the next one where he goes to New Orleans. But
yep.
Anyways, yeah, you haven't seen The Mummy's Ghost yet. I think that's the one that has a pretty shocking ending.
I thought that was the final one. I don't remember.
We'll talk about
going off Cinemassacre reviews from a couple years ago.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after.
I know it's got a pretty horrifying ending.
Yeah, but anyways, I want to say, speaking of which, another piece of trivia I got from Cinemassacre, you probably heard this. I'm not sure if it's this movie or the next couple. Lon Chaney Jr. playing the mummy. Did you hear the story about how apparently he had a bottle of vodka at the bottom of his leg wrapped up, and he had a straw that he was just sipping on vodka. And so James Rolfe said he really likes the idea that maybe he was actually drunk and that's part of his stumbling in these movies.
Probably trying to make it so like the straw doesn't bend and break, because he's like, well, if the straw snaps, then I can't keep drinking. So move my leg in a certain way so it doesn't snap or something.
I was thinking more along the lines of he's just getting drunk on vodka.
Well, you got to have a combination of both. Like,
right.
Make sure the straw doesn't break.
He's not sober, but he's not sober, but he's sober enough to know not to break that damn thing.
And if that's true, which I wouldn't doubt it, it's like, geez, how many actors have we heard stories of they just get drunk on set?
Yeah.
I think my favorite story of that had to be the guys who played Mario and Luigi in the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh yeah.
Hoskins and Leguizamo.
Yep.
I think Leguizamo, it was either Leguizamo or Hoskins that came out in an interview and openly admitted they were just like, we just gave up and we just drank through the film.
I never heard that.
I'll find again. I think it was Cinemassacre who I learned it.
God, we are just riding back on that man's coattails.
Yes, we love Cinemassacre. I'm sorry, everyone. If we bore you that much, I guess go listen to him.
Yeah, go listen to him. No, but I want to say, I was going to pose the question, but it's really unfair. Who do you like better as Kharis, Lon Chaney, or Tom Tyler? But Tom Tyler is only in the movie for about 15 minutes. So, well, he has those flashback scenes, so maybe 20, 25. But Lon Chaney, and there's not a lot to the character.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the makeup when they did a close-up in the mummy's hand, I thought was kind of unsettling, but unsettling in a way where it's like, I don't know if it was intentional or if the makeup was just done not very well. Because I remember the camera was kind of not very in focus in the mummy's hand when we saw his face right up. You know what scene I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think that may have also had to do with, in that movie, they tried to do some effects where he's, like they blacked out his eyes. If you remember that. I think maybe them digitally imposing, or not digitally, obviously, but imposing that image or the blackness over his eyes may have like slowed down the frame rate or something. I don't know.
Okay. Because in this one, I felt like he looked the same, but it's weird. It's like in black and white. It's why I've said it before. Sometimes in some of the black and white movies, I have trouble differentiating some of the men from each other.
Yeah,
because
we
they've
said
almost
that
all got
especially...
the same. They've all got the same haircuts. Their hairs are almost always the same, like tone almost. And it's like when the camera's not fully zoomed in, it's like, but then it's like with this one, it's almost the same thing where it's like I could not physically see too big of a difference between this and the Mummy's Hand.
Yeah, no. Yeah, the men back there, they were just, cocked hair, high trousered white men.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, white men. No, I'm not saying all men. Don't take that the wrong way, please.
Nah, but yeah. So speaking of which, I will say I'm not sure what Torinbay's nationality was, but he's actually the first person that actually looks like he came out of Egypt.
Yeah, he was. Let's see. He was Austrian-born, actor of Turkish and Czech/Jewish origins.
Okay,
Turkish.
That sort of gets in sort of the Eastern.
Yeah, because I was going to say so. And who was the guy in the first one?
George Zuko.
And
he's in this too, also in old man makeup.
Yep. And he's just British. That's all it says. A British character actor.
Yep.
Still waiting for an actual Egyptian.
Yeah, I remember. I'm sorry, you just said character actor, and that made me think of a funny moment. J.K. Simmons was being interviewed. I think it was Colbert. And he said, "You're known to be a great character actor. What's the difference between a character actor and just an actor?" And J.K. Simmons just says, "Oh, a character actor is just an actor that's not very good looking."
Wow. J.K. Simmons is awesome.
Hell yeah, he is. So
wait, hold on. I recognize a name on here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so in this movie, I'm just looking at the cast. There's a character that just says as farmer, Glenn Strange.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
When did he start playing the monster again?
I think he started playing the monster in House of Frankenstein.
Wow. Okay, so this is where he must have got his start.
Wow. You know what's funny is he was in an old Western show. I forget what it was called, but my dad told me this. He was in an old Western show, and he played against this other very tall actor.
Okay.
And I forget this actor's name, but that's the actor who played the Thing in the original The Thing from Another World.
Nice.
So you had Frankenstein's monster and the Thing playing rivaling cowboys.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe I noticed that. That's cool.
Good catch. Is there anything? Are there any other performances or like moments you really want to call out?
I'd say the ending was a little. I liked the ending. It was decently exciting. It felt like they left the lore behind. Like I did kind of, we laughed about it, and it is still funny. Like that when Steve just like threw the Tana leaves on the ground, and like you said, you're like, our big imposing monster is down licking the floor. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
But this time it's almost like we get rid of the lore, and it's like he's just on the second story of a house that's on fire, and it's like,
it's on fire. Yeah.
It's not the most climactic ending. I mean, it's no burning. It's no Bride of Frankenstein where the castle's being blown to pieces and everyone's presumed dead. But it's just, I don't know. It's just not that like, wow. I mean, it's just, he's just in a house that's burning down. It's like, okay.
Also, it burns down so quickly, and then it just cuts to wedding, and newspaper headline saying like the terror ends in loving union or something.
Yeah, it just kind of, again, it just kind of stopped. It was just like, all right.
Well, weren't those all these movies? The big climax ends, and then it's just the end. A universal picture.
Leave.
No. And
Which
it
was
is
fine that they did it. It was just funny because it's like, I always love these ones where it's like, oh my God, the monster, he's gonna die at the end. It's like, oh, no, okay, never mind, it's done.
Yeah, it's a very early, and it's one other thing I was going to bring up. It being a proto slasher was the kills. Nothing that impressive,
No,
really.
it's- it's somebody running and screaming and then body found, or like we said with Jane, hand on the throat, cut to black, scream, Jane's dead.
Yeah, but we both love the original Halloween, and the kills there aren't crazy Friday the 13th level kills.
Halloween kills should have taken some notes from the original. It's just my opinion.
I haven't watched that yet.
What?
I haven't watched Kills yet.
Go this weekend.
Oh, okay. Jump on it.
I mean, I'm shocked you haven't. Okay. It's funny. By the time this comes out, we'll be so far past when it'll even be in theaters.
Yeah. Well, for the record, Chad has not seen Rocky IV, Rocky versus Drago yet.
It was sold out.
Yeah. Well, also it was a Fathom event, so
Right.
you have a little more leeway than I do.
I had one night to get in, and I literally went right after work, and I was like, Rocky IV. They're like, sold out. I'm like, when did it sell out? They're like, last week. I'm like,
It's crazy that it sold out, because the theater that my buddy Matt and I were in, it was mostly empty.
Oh, they advertised the shit out of it.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, just jumped off to another.
As always. And that's our
we
trademark
always
at
do.
this point. That's just what we do at this point.
Yeah, people would be disappointed if we didn't do that.
Exactly. Shoot, now we have to make it. Now we have to do it.
If we don't do it, we'll be like, oh no, we got to go back.
Make something up really quick before we say the end.
Yeah.
I don't have much left to say. Like I said, I thought it was a cool little revenge quest. Watching a couple of returning characters get killed in their old age. Like I said, usually I hate it, but I mean, I thought it worked here.
Yeah.
And yeah, no real issues.
I had a lot of fun with it.
The mummies, so it's almost like, I will say, yeah, this is better than the Mummy's Hand. But
yeah,
even watching the recap of it, I still would say watch Mummy's Hand before watching this one.
So you at least have some sort of. It's funny. I think the Kharis mummy movies so far have the best continuity of the Universal monsters. Well, Frankenstein
right?
Bride and Son, I think, probably have better. But
they fell apart with Ghost.
Yeah.
An Invisible Man, there is no continuity.
Yeah, no.
Kind of.
But no, I think you just said it so perfectly, a great revenge quest, and I had a lot of fun with this one, and it's really cool seeing, like the spooky, foggy cemetery, woodsy areas, and seeing the mummy sort of stumble his way through there, and his shadow. I eat that up like candy.
Mm-hmm. I hope it carries over into the next one.
Me too. It's been a long time since I've seen that one, so hopefully, here's hoping.
Fingers crossed. So, all right. Well, that wraps up another episode, I think. Ken, anything else, or you're good?
Nope. I think definitely check this one out.
I agree. So, guys, check out The Mummy's Tomb when you get a chance. We're marching our way through. I think, what are we at? Are we at the midway point right now on the box set, basically?
Almost.
Yep, we're almost at the midway point. Almost there. Wow. Which is a good thing. We still got plenty to go, even though half of what's coming up is comedies.
And I'm here for it.
And it'll be my first time. Well, it's my first time for half of these, but So, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We will be back soon with another episode, which will be, I think this is another one of your favorites coming up next, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'm looking forward to that one.
I think we all are. Ding, ding, ding. One of the first Versus movies of all time.
Yes, sir.
Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. So, guys, tune in a few weeks. We'll be back with that. Talk to you soon.
Take it easy, everyone.